Hi, my name is Raven DeVault,
And I'm Alyx Riebling.
and the country we chose is France.
France is a unitary government, which means it is governed as a single unit instead of as individual sections or as like states. And it is also democratic and a republic. And being democratic, it means it is governed by the people, for the people, whatever. And then as a republic, that means that the main power is with the people and with the people that they end up electing. So that's how they kind of hold their power. And the Constitution was established on September 28th of 1958.
All right, France has three branches of government. The first branch is the executive branch. They have a president, but the president also goes by the chief of state. The chief of state's name is Nicolas Sarkozy, and he was pronounced president on May 16th of 2007. They also have a prime minister who is the head of government. The head of government is Francois Fillon, and he was elected the prime minister on May 17th of 2007. They share the power of the executive branch, so that means they're always checking back and forth with each other, making sure everything is in line and in place and that everything corresponds with each other.
The second branch is the legislative branch. And France has a bicameral parliament that has 346 seats. They also have a 577 member general or national assembly, and that is the lower branch or house of parliament. And they also have a 319 member senate.
Okay, the final branch of government is the judicial branch. They have Supreme Court of Appeals, which means the judges are appointed by the president from the High Council of the Judiciary, and there's nominations that are made. There's a constitutional council, or a constitutional law, they also call it, and what the Constitutional Council does is they check the constitutionality of each statute, and in a nutshell, that's making sure the legitimacy of each statute lines up with the Constitution and its amendments and laws. There's 3 members appointed by the President of the National Assembly and 3 appointed by the President of the Senate. There's a Council of State, which is also known as an administrative court. There's a Court of Cassation, which is a civil and criminal court. And there's also, those 2 courts are independent Supreme Courts of Appeals for the judicial courts.
And just like in the United States, there are checks and balances between the different branches. So, for an example, the legislative branch checks on the executive branch by kind of arguing on the floor like different points, and then there's also like the checks to make sure that the laws being passed are within the Constitution. And there are 4 major political parties in France. They are the Union for a Popular Movement, the Socialist Party, the Democratic Movement, and New Center, which was formerly UDF. So the Union for a Popular Movement and Socialist Party are contemporary political parties that are focused on liberal conservatism, and the Democratic Movement and the New Center are political parties focused on democratic aspects and social liberalism. And they also have 3 minor parties that are also kind of at the forefront, and they are the Communist Party, National Front, and Greens.
Okay. Based off the seats of government for each of these political parties, the Democratic and New Center, formerly the UDF, have 3 seats in the National Assembly out of the 577 seats. The Senate has 4 seats out of the 348 seats. The Parliament has 5 out of 74 seats, and the regional councils have 32 out of 1,800 seats. For the Union for a Popular Movement, or the UMP, in a socialist party, the National Assembly has 313 out of 577 seats. The Senate has 132 out of 348, and Parliament has 22 out of 74, And regional councils. It's my mom. Hello.
The regional councils have 331 out of the 1,880 seats. And political parties play a major role in what goes on in the government in the country. So political parties kind of shape everything that goes on. They influence what laws are passed and who is in charge of the government. And it gives all the citizens something that they feel like they can relate to. So they can find a party that has their views and ideas, and by voting with the party lines, they feel like they can be part of what's going on. And one major example of how the French parties helped kind of influence the world and just the country in general is through the French Revolution. And also through the French Revolution, the political parties in America kind of grew because people in the United States saw what happened with the French Revolution and saw that they could make political parties of their own and make them kind of work with what they saw as what needed to be done. So they made their own political parties that fit more their views and ideas so they could feel like they were playing a bigger part in the government.
Okay. Based off the population of France, it's a large country, very large. But the population seems to be even bigger for the actual country itself. The population is 63.3 million people with an estimated growth rate of 0.5%. They have several different ethnic groups. They have a Celtic and Latin with a Teutonic. They have a Slavic, a North African, a Sub-Saharan African, an Indo-Chinese, and a Basque minorities. With their religion, they're Roman Catholic, and so most of them, they all follow the Roman Catholic religion and they stick with their practices, but there's also the few that are Muslim, Protestant, and Jewish. The language they speak is, of course, French. The education, their literacy rate is about 99%, so that's pretty well for a full country. Most people don't have even close to that. So for their health, they have an infant mortality rate of 3.7 to every 1,000. The workforce, there's 28.3 million people in the workforce. And even though that doesn't seem like a lot, it's kind of because it isn't. So there's a lot of people out of work. But their services to probably the community, to maybe even to help the government out more, or even to themselves, is there's 75% of people working in services. The industry and construction, there's 21.7%. So that's people making the buildings and helping people with houses, and those people who can't, provide for themselves, that's what they're doing. And their agriculture is 2.9%, so farmers and people bringing in the foods and the goods, helping everyone out.
So about the geography of France, it's the largest Western European country, but even being the largest Western European country, it's only about 4/5 the size of Texas. That's still pretty big. And the capital is Paris, and the climate is fairly temperate. And for a current event that is now in France is the debate over the new president and the first lady. They are the first couple that isn't actually married.
So this woman, she used to be, her name is Valerie Terwiller. It's a French name. And she used to be a press member for